Hey Aquarius, this is your monthly reading for Aquarius sun or rising signs. And this is for the month of September 2023. Out of the readings that I put out every month, this is the more extended reading. So we'll be diving in a little bit more than we do with the bi-weeklies and looking over the beginning, middle, and end of the month. Also taking a look at any kinds of challenges that are coming up through the month as well. And also I just put out the bi-weekly, I put out bi-weeklies that go from full moon to new moon or new moon to full moon. So I just put out the ones for the full blue moon that happened on August 30th to the new moon that is happening on September 14th. So that is also out and ready for you guys to take a look at. Those are shorter, like more bite-sized, kind of 5-ish minute on average videos. So you can take a look at that there. All right, so there we go, Aquarius. All right. Okay, so this particular card is one where we're drawing on the astrological houses to see what area of life, which part of like either people that you know or what section of life is of focus for you. So here we're looking at the 9th house, and this helps us to really like focus in on how we're going to interpret all of the cards for this collective reading. Again, I've said this before, but collective readings are like awesome. I watch a couple people for collective readings, and I just know that like sometimes it's resonant and I'm like, oh cool, this is definitely my message. And other times I'm like, oh, this isn't my message this month. So pay attention to that. Trust your intuition. If it's not resonating for you and this is your sun sign, go check out your rising sign. Always, 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 I'm going to say one-to-one readings are the best way to get this specific information for you, whether that's me or someone else. If it's me, the information is down below. So we are looking at the 9th house for you, Aquarius, and yeah, it's exploration in a way, but this is definitely about expansion in another way. So we are looking at either foreign travel, foreign, like very long distance, right? So this wouldn't be like in your region, this would be further away, or dealing with people who are from other foreign places to your own, that kind of a thing. Also learning and teaching, and our beliefs can have to do with religion. Doesn't have to be organized religion, but like that kind of like really structured type of belief structure. Our world views also can be politics, right? But very often like there's the expansion of like us expanding and traveling into the world and going to other places that are foreign to us, right? It's much like when we're learning, we are expanding ourselves in our sense of knowledge, our understanding of the world, right? So there's this exploration and expansion that happens in these different kinds of areas, and that's what's up for you. Maybe you're up to a certain kind of study, I don't know. So now, when we look at the beginning, middle, and end of the month, we have the Magician, the King of Wands, Knight of Swords, challenge being another Knight of Cups. So, and then the 3 of Swords coming up as a spiritual advice. So let's move through these one at a time. So taking a look at the Magician, you come into the beginning of the month, and I think that there are, you know, all of these elements that you have present to create what it is that you want to create. Said another way, maybe people talk about this in terms of like quote unquote manifestation, but like what we're materializing, what it is that we're wanting to create in this world, and recognizing that you have all of the pieces that you need. You have all of the elements necessary to combine and create and be the master of creating your world or a project or whatever it is that you're wanting to create, to travel, to expand, to learn, to whatever it is, in all of these different directions. And often I think that like not only is this a very empowering card, but it reminds us that sometimes we're in this position where we not necessarily lack mentality, but we can just be like, well, I don't have all of the things that I would need to make this happen. And it's like, you might not have all the things that you want to make it happen or that would make it easier to make it happen, but you have have everything you actually need to work with. You have all of the raw materials that you need, the opportunity that you need to create this, right? Sometimes people, you know, there are people in other positions where they literally are just like, they don't have the very basic raw elements to go forward with and create what it is that they want to create in life. You actually have those at your fingertips. So it's a matter of utilizing them, even if it requires more effort. We come into the middle of the month and there is the King of Wands. You know, the kings are definitely about stepping into a sense of like leadership or responsibility in certain ways. These kings all lead by their element, so they all lead in very different ways, you know. And the King of Wands is definitely someone who is very much connected to his intuition, his charisma, his warmth, his desire to spark things into action, but also his intuition to jump into new adventures. Like, he's so willing to, out of all of the kings in the normal depiction that we see of the King of Wands, he's very much on the edge of his seat, ready to leap into a new adventure type of thing. So, you know, it may be a little bit restless, ready to go conquer other things, and maybe you might be feeling like getting to the middle of the month, you're just really feeling that build of energy and wanting to step into that. I think there is perhaps either a caution or that things are happening very quickly as we move into the end of the month. You know, keep in mind, you know, the very beginning of the month on the 3rd of September, we move out of Venus being retrograde, it stations direct. Middle of the month, literally on the 15th, we are having Mercury station direct, you know, and so it takes a little bit for these energies when planets come direct to start to really move at the pace that they normally move. So it's like slow going and then it starts to speed up. I feel like at the end of the month, you might start to feel like you're getting some traction and things are really starting to move. You want to be careful about not rushing headlong into things and moving too fast to where you're making some serious mistakes. The Knight of Cups is another knight. You know, the knights are all about action, right? So the knights, according to their element, move through things in different ways. And the Knight of Cups normally is really about moving towards the things that feel good to you, the things that you desire, the things that like you're just consistently moving towards more of a life that is created from a place of like what feels good to you, what feels true to you, not in like an overly hedonistic way, not in like a selfish way. But however, when it's in a challenging position, I think that there's like the need to question, am I moving forward in ways that are not necessarily true to what it is that I want, that I feel, that do feel good to me? Am I maybe overly sacrificing what it is that I want and not really moving towards those things? And so therefore maybe feel a little bit stuck in those ways or feel clouded in those ways? Or are you doing it in a way that's kind of like similar to what I was just talking about, which is like, okay, this could be a disregard for the impact that it has in the world around me and the people that are around me as well. Not to say that you should people please or stop yourself from doing things, but there is a balance, right? That's the balance that we want to strike. And then we have at your spiritual advice, the Three of Swords. And I know that typically people see the Three of Swords and they're like, oh my God, that's the heart with the three swords inside of it that you're probably familiar with seeing. And I like that they have a very different picture of it. But, you know, the idea when it's in a position of like, hey, let me give you some advice, right? Like some spiritual guidance, like, hey, guess what? Things might be a little disappointing in some ways. There might be things that coming outside of the Venus retrograde, coming out of this Mercury retrograde, especially if there were contracts that you signed or things that you agreed to that you might go, that's a little disappointing. Like, I feel disappointed. It doesn't always mean heartbreak level grief, but it can also just be about, it can be that, but it can also be about just feeling like disappointed, let down, that things are not unfolding according to how you would like them to be, like according to the plan. And so make space for that. Like that's the advice, is like make space and room to not only feel that, but to also not have too precise expectations, not to hold to them too rigidly, so that you're able to pivot and move with how things are in flux and changing as we're going through the month and then coming out after a couple of those retrogrades towards the end of the month, right? I mean, we'll have other planets retrograde, but still that's the energy that I'm getting here. So I hope that this feels helpful. If it has, please give the video a like. It does help me with the algorithm gods to find favor with them. And while you're there, why not subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos on the horizon. What else? Oh, you may notice in the description, I also have My dad lost everything in the Lahaina fires, and he's 83 years old. So I have his story and his GoFundMe down there. You know, whether it's about donating or not, we're just trying to get the word out. So if you feel called to share it with like your community or your friends, and you think there might be people who are like, oh, I want to contribute to someone directly that actually like has a story and what's been going on, then that would be so appreciated to share it with others if you feel called to. Only if you feel called to. No pressure, of course, at all. So thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.